practicing a language is really the only way you're going to learn it. If you're not immersed in a culture that's speaking the language natively, then it just becomes much more difficult to do that. And unless you're living with a roommate or your spouse or somebody that speaks the language and you can really take advantage of that, most people are just out of luck. And they'll take classes like I did. I lived 30 minutes from the Mexican border most of my life in San Diego and tried countless times to learn Spanish. I would take community college classes, I would do CD things, I would read books, and it just never stuck because my family and my friends weren't native Spanish speakers. So, after a while, it finally dawned on me that I had learned how to identify fonts on site during the time I was learning how to be a graphic designer by using a trick that was very simple. It was just I quizzed myself no matter where I was. And the same thing works for languages. Let me tell you how it goes. If I'm walking down a street and I see a sign, I would say, what font is that? If I'm looking at a restaurant menu, what font is that? Now, in the beginning, you don't know any of them. And so what you do is I would take note of something unusual about one of the letter forms. You know, did the J have a slightly diamond-shaped dot above it? Or, was the Y straight descender, or did it have a curly descender? And then I would go back, and at that time you couldn't look up fonts online. I'd have to look through books and a reference book and find the font. But the next time I saw it, I would know it anywhere. And that the act of researching it made it really stick. So I do the same thing with languages. I'm walking down the street, I'm sitting, like right now, I'm sitting talking to a computer. So I could think of, okay, what is the word for computer? El computadora. And, when I'm sitting, I'm a man. So first you're going to work on the nouns. You're going to work on the things that are in front of you. If you're eating, a knife, a fork, a spoon, a plate, maybe the foods that you're eating, the glass, the drink. But then you can, in that same situation, the beauty of this is that in the same situations over and over and over again, you can continue to elevate the difficulty of the language that you're using. So instead of sitting down and naming the word for plate, you can then talk about, you can start to talk in your head internally or externally to practice the mouth forms. You can talk about what you are going to do. I am going to eat this chicken now. And then you can I would like to give this chicken to somebody else. Wonder where this chicken came from, and how do you say I wonder or I imagine? There's all kinds of things that you can continue to elevate the difficulty and the complexity of the language through the verb tenses, verb forms, it's a really powerful way and a very simple way, something you always have with you. If I'm driving to the bank, what's the word for bank and what's the word for money? Well, I know that's el banco and dinero, but now the next time I go, it's okay. I'm driving. What's the word for driving? I am going to make a deposit. How do you say that? And look it up online, because the literal translation of to make and deposit may be different than the actual phrase for making a bank deposit in the place you're going to. So I had that experience with the word real estate. If you do a translation of real estate, you get true home, or real, and estate, a large home, a true large home. But that's not what real estate is called in a place like Argentina. It's inmobiliario. And so it's just a way to always have with you the ability to practice a language. So I hope that helps. Bye-bye.